What's going on, everybody? Welcome into Blazers Uprise Live. Today, we got a first round series preview. The Blazers took care of business. They are now in the first round, and now we get to see what they can do against one of the best teams in the league. I hate saying the Lakers are one of the best teams in the league, but they are. I'm here with Eric Brandt. Eric Brandt is wearing a jersey with no undershirt. He's rocking the guns right now and everything. Definitely needs to go tanning a little bit. I gotta throw you a little shade for that one. Actually, you don't need any more shade.
I told my wife that it's kind of a douche move to wear a tank top or a jersey, but you know what? It's my Odin jersey. I'm trying to exercise some bad karma tonight, get it out of the way, because we're owed some good karma from all the crappy things that have happened. So, just trying to exercise some demons.
Chat, you enjoying this? You enjoying the Eric Brandt Gun Show? Let me know. Let me know if I need to
It's cropped. You can't see my guns.
Oh my god. You just referred to, I could pull up the clipboard right away for you guys if you want. This is going to be a heavy clipboard day. Anyway, all jokes aside, we got a preview for you guys. We're going to start off by quickly going over the 4 games that happened today, talking about a little bit about each. Then we're going to have an in-depth preview on this Blazers-Lakers series, and then at the very end, we'll quickly touch on the other 3 series other than ours that haven't tipped off yet, and we'll talk about that. So that is what's on deck for today. Let's just start off with just going around the NBA real quick. You had a couple intriguing games today. You had a blowout of the Raptors over the Nets. The Nets did cut it to within 10, but that was to be expected. But we started off the day with Nuggets over the Jazz in overtime. Donovan Mitchell dropped 57 points. This was like a Damian Lillard type of treatment for him. He had 57, and they couldn't take care of business. I have no confidence in the Jazz going into the series. They're going to need Donovan Mitchell to play out of his mind because they are without Mike Conley. They did lose Bogdanovich before the bubble even started, and they don't have a good bench whatsoever. So, yeah, this is basically just Donovan Mitchell against the world. You've got Rudy Gobert in there, but he's more of a defensive guy. So, 57 points, 19 for 33 shooting, 6 for 15 from the three-point line for Donovan Mitchell. And they couldn't get the job done against the Nuggets. You had Jamal Murray with 36, who he got hot. It was fun to watch Mitchell and Murray go back and forth down the stretch in this game.
For sure. And Jokic had a shot at the buzzer to win it for Denver that he missed.
Pretty good shot, too. I was surprised he missed that. But
yeah.
So, yeah, you have the Nuggets going up 1-0 in this series. I think it's crucial for the Jazz to win Game 2. There's no home court advantage really, so it's kind of weird to look at these series without that. But given the fact that the Jazz are at a talent deficit, they can't really afford to fall behind 2-0. I think this series is pretty much done if the Nuggets can win Game 2. Of course, you don't ever rule anything out, but without Mike Conley and Bogdanovich, the Jazz can't end up in that type of hole.
Yeah, for sure. And they have a big blow with Conley. Rightfully leaving for the birth of his child today.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, they're just so shorthanded without Bogdanovich too. They absolutely have to win game 2. I agree.
Mm-hmm. The second game of the day, we had the Raptors being the Nets 134-110. They were led by Fred VanVleet, who had 30 points and 11 assists. He was 8 for 10 from the three-point line, became the third player in playoff history to have 30 points, 10 assists, and 8 threes. He joined Chris Paul and, of course, Damian Lillard in that company. But this is just a well-rounded team effort on both sides of the ball from the Raptors. They're looking dangerous. Their defense is maybe the best in the league, and they shot 50% from the three-point line tonight. It's going to be very hard to beat them when they're shooting the ball like that because of how good their defense is. Karis LeVert had 15 points, 15 assists for him. But didn't go off quite like he did against us.
They were making him give up the ball and denying him off ball whenever he gave it up, so he never got the ball back on offense, too, which is a strategy we would have liked to have seen in the Brooklyn game, especially when he was going off and is hot. But the Raptors know how to win, and it'll be a really cool story if they find a way to somehow contend again this year and make it deep into the playoffs or even into the finals.
Huge testament to Nick Nurse for losing a top 3 player in the league, and it looks like the Raptors haven't even fallen off at all. We'll see how it goes down the stretch when they'll probably end up having to face Milwaukee again if they want to get to the NBA Finals. We'll see how that goes for them. We'll see if they can repeat their success from last year. Boston in the second round, if Boston takes care of the Sixers, which we'll touch on that series in a sec, that would be a tough matchup as well. So they don't got an easy path there in the East, so they're going to get a better test than this depleted Nets team. Quick shout out to Timothy Luwawu-Cabarrot. I know there's some Luwawu-Cabarrot fans in our community. I don't know how that happened, but it happened. He had 26 points off the bench, 9 for 13 from the field, 6 for 9 from 3, and I just want to make a quick Olshey point right here. I've always said Olshey doesn't work well enough around the fringes of the roster, right? He goes and gets guys like Anthony Tolliver and Mario Hezonja who have absolutely no upside at this point in their careers. Here's another guy who we could have brought in last year that could be in the rotation helping us right now instead of Mario Hezonja. It's just, you get guys like this, they hadn't done anything, but they're still young. They still haven't really had much of a chance. They still have upside. A guy like Mario had already been in the league and played for 4 seasons, going into his 5th year with us. I would much rather find these gems. Olshey needs to do a better job finding these undrafted gems. I mean, you had the 2 best players in each team. You had one who was undrafted in Fred VanVleet, and you had another one, Luwawu-Cabarrot, who had been with multiple teams, and everybody pretty much gave up on. I think he started the year on a 2-way contract, got turned into a regular contract. So, that's a guy who I'd much rather have right now than Mario.
Yeah, I mean, he's only been in the league 1 less year than Mario, and it's been pretty brutally bad up until
he hasn't played
point,
the minutes Mario has, though. Not even close.
Right, that's true. But yeah, he was one of those guys that everyone was like, oh, TLC's you got to get him. He's going to be good someday, when he was on Philly, especially after his rookie year. And then kind of fell out of favor with them, got traded to OKC. And then, never really played well for OKC. I think he was finished the season last year on the Bulls, and then was obviously on Brooklyn this year. But yeah, it's a guy who I didn't think was gonna play this well at any point in his career after watching him the last couple of years, mainly because his jump shot was broken. But yeah, he's played very well in this bubble.
Yep. Third game, you had the Sixers versus the Celtics. The Celtics took care of business in this one. It's tough for the Sixers without Ben Simmons. You had the Celtics being led by Jason Tatum, who had 32 points, 13 rebounds, 3 blocks. Jaylen Brown had 29 points. It would be so amazing to have just one of those guys, to have a wing like that. Gordon Hayward did get hurt in this game. He ended up spraining his ankle. They're going to do x-rays on it. We'll see how that goes. We'll see what his status is. That would definitely be a blow to them, because the Celtics bench didn't do anything in this game, in this win. They only had 8 points. Enes Kanter only played 8 minutes. I thought that was a little surprising. It looks like Robert Williams has passed him up in the rotation. Marcus Smart struggled. He didn't have a shot from the field in his 32 minutes. So that bench doesn't look too hot right now for the Celtics. And if they lose Gordon Hayward for a few games, then that bench gets even worse, because you probably would put Marcus Smart in the rotation, in the starting lineup, and move Jaylen Brown over to the 3. So we'll see how that goes for them. For the Sixers, you had Embiid with 26 and 16, Josh Richardson 18, Tobias Harris 15, Alec Burks had 18 off the bench. But this Sixers team, I have no confidence in the Sixers in this series. Joel Embiid does present a matchup problem against Daniel Tice. The Celtics don't have a ton of size, and you saw that with the Sixers getting 15 offensive rebounds. But then again, Celtics had 16 of their own, so they matched them on the boards. If the Celtics can just match the Sixers on the boards and kind of hold down Embiid, which they did in this game, 26 and 16, that's a good stat line, but the Sixers are going to need him to do a lot more than that. So I don't know, I just have no confidence in the Sixers in the series.
Embiid only had 14 shots in this game, I think, right?
He had 15.
15 shots. How do you... with that stat line, how do you not just go to him every time? And the
Yeah.
Boston could not stop him in this game. They should have just went to it every time down the court because the rest of their offense was not very good. So,
Yep.
and Tobias Harris and Horford were both pretty bad in this game, at least offensively.
That's really loud.
Huh?
That's really loud.
Okay. I'm gonna have to mute for a second. I'll
Yeah,
be back.
go ahead. But yeah, I mean, I agree with Eric's point. You had 15 shots from Burks. You had 15 from Harris. You had 17 from Josh Richardson. Embiid only had 15 as well. He should be getting 20 to 25 shots a game right now. He did get to the line 12 times, though, but that's a guy who, like, Embiid is going to have to put that team on his back, right? Last season, when they actually had a little bit of playoff success, he had Ben Simmons by his side. Now he doesn't. Like, Embiid needs to step up and put this team on his back and kind of carry this team, right? Like, this is Embiid's chance to show that he's, like, legitimately a top 10 player. Because he's kind of on the fringe top 10 for me, Embiid is, and I think this is kind of a litmus test for him. Can he put this team on his back? Can he lead the Sixers to at least a competitive series, right? We'll see if the series is competitive or if the Celtics kind of control this thing.
The problem is, as a big man, you can't do that on your own. You have to rely on your teammates and coach to like play through you and want to make you be that way. So he can't help it if they don't go through him or play, try to go to other players or whatever. Like I just thought that was a horrible coach game by Brett Brown in this one.
Yeah, I'm not high on Brett Brown at all, so not really surprising. And then last game of the night, you had the Clippers beating the Mavericks. This was a very competitive game, a game of runs. The Clippers started up 18-2, and then the Mavericks came all the way back and took a 4-point lead at the end of the first. So that was a very Blazers-esque thing for the Clippers to do. I should have said blazery, because that is a perfect word for blowing a 16-point lead in the first and end up down at the end of the quarter. That's a blazery thing of them to do, but they did take care of business and get the win. They were led by 29 by Kawhi. Paul George tipped in 27. Marcus Morris had a solid game, had 19. Lou Williams had 14 off the bench. Montrezl Harrell played his first game back in the bubble. His first game of this restart. He only played for 15 minutes, though. Not much of a contribution, only poured in 6 points. His minutes will probably rise as the series goes on. He's just getting back into the swing of things here.
I think he just got cleared out of his room.
Heard he only had one shoot around, and that was it. So they just gave him a jersey, threw him out there. He was very, he wasn't. You could say he's fresh. His legs should be fresh, but he has no rhythm whatsoever going into the series. So it will be interesting to see when he gets back to the Montrezl Harrell that we all know. For the Mavs, you had Doncic with a 42-point game, had 9 assists, 7 rebounds, but he also had 11 turnovers. And I was following the turnover stat with him. 11 turnovers. That's what cost Dallas this game. They had 21 as a team compared to the Clippers 11. That's 10 extra possessions the Clippers got, and they won by 8. You got to take better care of the ball if you're Luka Doncic. And I didn't watch this game. I listened to it on the radio. So I'm not sure exactly how a lot of those turnovers came, but I do expect him to have issues with that going up against the Kawhi and Paul George type defenders.
Oh, what do you know? They doubled him a lot, and look what happens.
He did shoot well from the field. He got a ton of free throws, too. That's the thing. It's like Dame in the past, when he's gotten doubled, hasn't really gotten the free throw attempts, and Doncic got 15 in this game. So that's the thing. Like, that definitely helps if you're able to get sent to the line. So, I mean, like, if you just look at his points, 42, had 9 assists. Like, it looks good, but when you have 11 turnovers, man, like that offsets a lot of it, because turnovers oftentimes can turn to easy buckets for the Clippers, and it's just wasted opportunities. So if you have 11 turnovers, that's really, really bad.
Well, it's funny because on Twitter I saw a lot of like Mavs accounts saying like, this is going to be the problem with Doncic in the playoffs. He's not getting the calls he is getting in the regular season. So the fact that he still ended up going to the line a lot is weird, considering at the beginning of the game it didn't seem like it was headed that way. But the story of this game was Porzingis getting ejected on some BS. And we talked about this after the first Blazer game where there were several technicals. they gotta let them play, man. They can't have quick whistles. You can't get offended if you're a ref at stuff you hear that you probably wouldn't hear in a normal game with fans and all the noise around you. Like, just you can't decide a series or a game like this with a quick whistle. Just let them vent a little bit and let them talk crap. Let them tussle a little bit. Like, I don't like the quick tease in this situation.
I agree with that. The thing that I don't like seeing is Dallas Mavericks fans acting like that decision, the two technicals on Porzingis was to rig the game for the Clippers.
Right? Yeah,
like
it
that
wasn't
type
rigged.
of stuff. Like, in one way you can look at it is the refs are calling things by like the rule of the law. They shouldn't. Like, I agree with you, but they are like, they're being strict, but they're calling things to the rule of the law, right? Didn't Paul George get a technical early in this game? I heard. I don't know exactly what that situation was, how demonstrative he was, but my overall point is like, they're not ejecting Porzingis to rig the game for the Clippers.
Right,
They're not doing that. They wouldn't have called that tech on Paul George, and if Paul George, I don't know. I think they were being fair. Too strict for sure, too strict. But if they're calling things the letter of the law, then how can you say, oh, they're trying to rig it for one team or another? It's not like we had another example where they didn't give a tech to Paul George or something when he should have gotten his second tech because he did the same thing Porzingis got ejected for. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So I definitely agree. It was not rigging the game in any way. I just wish they wouldn't let it even factor into the game. But what's hilarious about what you just said is in the first half when Dallas came back and took the lead and started playing really well, there was a bunch of calls that went their way, and all the Clipper fans were like, oh, it's rigged for Dallas, blah, blah, blah. But then in the second half, it's like rigged the other way. Like, why would the NBA do that? And to anyone who thinks, like, I saw this on all over Twitter, like, I'm blanking on his name, the owner of the Clippers, Ballmer.
Steve Ballmer.
Yeah, Ballmer. So he's worth billions. He probably paid the league $1 billion to help the Clippers win. Why would that guy risk paying off the NBA when he's and ruining his entire life, basically, if he gets caught, just to rig a first-round playoff game in Game 1 against the Dallas Mavericks?
In a series
that makes
where his
no
team
sense
is
at all,
favored. Yeah, it doesn't make any sense. So that's the thing. People go crazy with the conspiracy theories, and I hate it. I'm going to segue this into a message for Blazer fans. Don't be that fan base tomorrow saying they're rigging it. Like, even if they are, from the outside looking in, it just makes me like roll my eyes. Which some people say, well, you're talking about how they were trying to help Zion get into the playoffs with an easy schedule. I mean, that's not like a game-by-game thing. And it was reported that the NBA actually wanted to try and get Zion in. But that's not the same as, like, affecting games. You know what I mean? That's just like, okay, we're going to get a format that's, like, fair to everybody, but, like, we want to give, like, a guy like Zion the chance. I don't know. Like, that's different, so I don't want to hear anybody arguing that. I'm just saying, like, these games aren't going to be rigged. If Damian Lillard made it to the Western Conference Finals and, like, that would be... he would get ratings. Damian Lillard is one of the most popular players in the league, one of the most well-known names in the league, and if he went on some run, on some tear where he eliminated the Lakers and then, won in the second round, got to the Western Conference Finals against the Clippers, people would watch that. Maybe not as many people that watch the Lakers, but, like, the ratings would still be very, very good. They're not going to rig it for the damn Lakers. Okay? I don't want to hear it every time a foul is called, oh, they're rigging it for LeBron and the Lakers.
Well, like Storm Frantic 15 says, if they have to rig it for a 1 seed to be an 8 seed, that's really sad.
Exactly. So why would they even mess with that? In the rare chance that an 8 upsets a 1, they're gonna, okay, that happens. Like, the league, the whole rigging thing is just so over exaggerated. Like, it doesn't exist. The league would, like, ruin their whole entire reputation. There is the risk versus reward. It's far more risky than it is rewarding for the NBA to, like, rig things.
And the way this is setting up, people are going to watch whether they're, like, it doesn't matter who's in the finals. Like, people are going to watch this year. It's not going to be, like, a regional thing. Like if it was Toronto, I know Toronto can't play Milwaukee, but, like, Toronto, Milwaukee, or whatever versus Utah or Denver or something like that, or Portland. Like people are still going to watch that this year because like it's these games have been super entertaining and the basketball has been really pure and exciting. Like I just don't see the NBA messing with what they have right now and in any way tainting this great opportunity they have right now. Because I know hockey is having some success too, but like not enough people care about hockey in this country right now. So like this is it, man. Baseball's falling apart. NFL's talking about having like 12 to 15,000 people in the stands at some games, and like that's going to be a disaster. Like just let the product speak for itself, and I don't see why anyone would ruin that.
Let me just say something before Destrom hops out here. When the hell have you ever heard me say a game is rigged against the Blazers? Have you ever heard me say that, Destrom? Like, when have I ever seriously said that?
Well, he called you a petty-ass Blazer fan.
I know, man. Destrom's been like that lately, man. I don't get it. But yeah, no, I don't remember ever saying that on this platform. So I don't know. Maybe you could go timestamp something. Go be a Trevin and go do some detective work. But yeah, no. So
real quick,
ahead,
Travioli. Yeah. I know you like hockey, and lots of people like hockey. I'm just saying it doesn't have the popularity of like the three major sports in the U.S. But all the more power to them. The bubble's working for them as well, and things are going well for them. So it's good to see.
Yeah. So anyway, that wraps up the games from today. Let's jump into this Blazers-Lakers preview. We're not going to waste time with this. I just want to look at it this way. Okay, what things can the Blazers do to win? I mean, we should set it up a little better than that, actually. Who do you think the Lakers are going to start? Like, they're starting Caruso in the backcourt. I assume he's still going to start, right? You got LeBron, AD.
Well, they have Rondo back now. He's supposed to play.
Okay.
I'm assuming he'll. Yeah, I don't know what they'll do. I'm guessing they'll have him come off the bench. But yeah, I'm not 100% sure.
So, like, who have they been starting? Because they've been resting guys, so it's hard to tell.
Yeah, that's the problem.
Have they been starting AD at power forward?
Yeah, I think they start JaVale, right?
Yeah.
At 5. Yeah.
Okay, and Danny Green and LeBron,
Yep.
and then we'll see who starts with them, like if Caruso or Rondo or maybe KCP. Either way, like let's just look at matchups to start, right? I'd put Dame on KCP or Rondo or Caruso or whoever starts there, right?
Yep.
CJ on Danny Green.
Yep.
I guess Melo has to guard LeBron. But like Melo's gonna be amped up for that. You know what I mean? Like we'll see how that goes. Like the thing is with LeBron is it's not going to be one guy that slows him down. It's going to have to be good team defense. It's going to have to be a good team effort. So it's like, yeah, it's gonna be rough having Melo on him, but it's gonna have to be a team effort. The only problem I see is like pick and roll with LeBron. Melo sucks getting through screens.
Well, all our team does.
Yeah, I mean, all our team does. Yeah,
doesn't really matter.
Melo's
We're going to have to double him, but
Melo's especially bad. So honestly, what I would start off in is I would have Melo go over at go under screens at the start.
Yep. If
LeBron hits like 1 or 2 threes, I'd say if LeBron hits 2 threes, you switch it up. Unless it's like he made 2 out of 8 in the first quarter or something. You know what I mean? Like if he hits back-to-back threes, you switch it up. Okay? At that point you start hedging. You can't drop the big, and we'll get into that. But at power forward, Zach Collins is out. Rumored to be starting Gabriel, which I think is I don't know. Here's kind of the thing with our starting lineup. You could go with Trent at small forward and Melo at power forward. Or you could go Melo at small forward and Gabriel at power forward. Either way, you're going to have Melo on AD or LeBron. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think you want him on LeBron instead of AD.
Yep. So I actually like the decision of starting Gabriel because I think Gabriel might be our best defender for AD.
Yeah, I don't know if you saw Dame's comments, but he said he expected Gabriel to start at the 4.
That's what I'm basing it off of. I think Gabriel might be the best defender for AD just because he's like a little too skinny, right? So AD might be able to get what he wants down low. At that point, we should be doubling AD though, you know, and trying to.
Yeah, Wenyan just needs to not commit stupid fouls and get into
Yeah.
foul trouble
I mean,
because
but
we don't have a lot of backup options right now. Because
what
in case you missed it, Nas and Zach have both been ruled out already for this game.
yeah. Well, anyway, what I was saying about Wenyan, he's quick of foot. He's quick of foot, right? You got a guy like AD who's big, but who can play out on the perimeter, who can handle the ball, who can attack from the perimeter, who's pretty quick for his size. It's helpful to have a guy that can get out to the perimeter quickly to contest shots if AD shoots, because AD's a three-point shooter now, but also quick enough with his feet to be able to close out and then stay in front. So honestly, on this entire team, I think Wenyan Gabriel is the best defender, like personnel-wise, to put on AD. Right? AD might still get his. It might not even be Wenyan's fault. It could be because we're running the wrong scheme. We're running a drop scheme, and AD's catching lobs because of it or something. But in just one-on-one, I would put Gabriel on Anthony Davis as much as possible.
Well, that's what happened in the Kobe game was Wenyan started. That was his one start of the season. He played fairly well against AD. It didn't show in the box score, but I thought he did fine. Like it wasn't like that was killing us. And sometimes you just got to let a good player get his and try to stop everyone else. But to go back to your Nick Nurse thing, so Toronto has had a lot of success against the Lakers this year, and they throw a hard and fast double team at Anthony Davis almost immediately when he touches the ball. And I think the last game he shot like 26% against them or something. So it'll be interesting to see if we try to copy that at all, and knowing that Gabriel needs some help at times, and make their other shooters beat us, or do we just let Anthony Davis go one-on-one and say just try to stop everyone else and let LeBron and AD get theirs and just try to limit the rest of the secondary players from going off and scoring.
Defend it like that. You gotta slow down one of those two. You gotta slow down one of LeBron and AD. If one of those guys has a mediocre game by their standards, we have a chance to win. The problem is our defense has been so bad in this bubble that like it's going to be. I will be surprised if one of those two has a mediocre game, if that makes sense. Like I expect both those guys to play well. I mean, Melo on LeBron, like. That's rough, but like Gabriel and Davis, I mean, I'd probably I don't know. I don't even know if I'd rather have Collins on AD, to be honest, compared to Gabriel. Collins could do more offensively and like does more of like the little things and just he's a better player, so it definitely help us. But in terms of just a one-on-one defensive matchup, I'm just super intrigued to see Wenyan Gabriel on Anthony Davis.
The problem is, you'd say even if Gabriel plays the game of his life, it's probably only like 15, 20 minutes where you feel totally comfortable, even if like he was just defending him insanely, right? So the problem is the other half of the game where we don't have another matchup for AD. So hopefully Gabriel can give us more than that, but I don't think you can ask for much more than like 20 good minutes of defense on him, and not having that secondary person to match up with him is going to be tough.
Yeah. Kyle Parker, I have no idea what the hell you're talking about. But, I mean, this isn't going to be like a... People view defense too much like a 1v1 thing, which I guess I kind of am right now. But, like, it's going to come down to team things, right? So, in terms of just defending this team, here's my like, key thing. You cannot give LeBron James the same look all game long, let alone all series long. If you do that, LeBron's going to pick it apart. He's too smart, right? And he'll be able to recognize schemes like, on the fly. But the thing is, there's a difference between like, okay, you come off the screen, you see the defense, and then you realize what the defense is in, compared to knowing exactly where our defense is going to be before you even come off the screen, right? Because if we just run the same scheme all series long, LeBron is going to know exactly where our defense is set up and how it's set up before he even dribbles off the screen. That's not a good plan for us. We have to be versatile. We have to switch things up defensively. I mean, I've said it all year long, just in general, but especially in this situation. Okay? The thing I'm worried about, we cannot... Like, I think the worst pick and roll scheme is our main pick and roll scheme. The worst pick and roll scheme to run against LeBron and AD is the pick and roll scheme that Terry Stotts loves to run. We drop the big. And here's what's going to happen. Let me pull out the clipboard. I haven't updated it yet. But here's what's going to happen. And this is very, very simple. This is very, very simple. I don't even need the other guys, right? You got LeBron. You got AD. If you have Melo getting picked here, and this being whoever's guarding AD, it might be the center, it might be Wenyen, right? You're going to have LeBron coming downhill off the screen, Melo trailing him, gets caught up in the screen, he's not good at getting through screens, then you're going to have AD rolling. You're going to have LeBron with a head of steam, and AD rolling to the hoop. How is Wenyen going to stop this? You got LeBron with a head of steam. It's a 2v1. It's like a Wenyen or Nurkic or whoever this is versus AD and LeBron within 15 feet of the rim. LeBron has a head of steam. It's either going to be lob to AD, or if he takes this away, LeBron is so good at just going downhill, going into the big and finishing, that's like, you can't take both this away. You either take away the lob or you take away LeBron's drive. Whichever one Wenyen or Nurkic or Whiteside takes away, the other thing will happen. If he takes away the lob, LeBron's drive will happen. If he takes away LeBron's drive, LeBron will just lob it up to AD. And, that it's just, you can have help side and stuff, but like a small, if this is CJ or something, I didn't mean to pick that one. If this is CJ or something helping over onto AD, he's not going to be able to stop an AD lob. You know what I mean? Like, if you have like JaVale or somebody downhill and here Nurkic steps up, LeBron will just lob it over to JaVale. Like, it's just, you can't give LeBron a head of steam with numbers. Because that's the thing. If Carmelo gets picked, he's going to be out of the play. That gives LeBron an advantage. This pick and roll scheme is not going to work against LeBron, especially if we run it over and over again. I maybe, run it a little bit and see what happens, just to throw in a wrinkle, but we got to throw everything at him. I am so worried and so sure that we're just going to run this drop scheme, and LeBron is just going to pick on whoever's the dropping bait. He's going to throw lobs or attack the rim, and they're going to kill us because of it, and then people will say, oh, well, this guy, if only this guy was Trevor Ariza. As if somehow that's affecting the scheme and what happens in here. Anyway.
I don't know if you saw it, but Stotts, I guess, was quoted as saying that he's been watching film and is working on some adjustments for this series.
That's your job. Like, why is that such a... that's how you know he's not a good coach, because when he says that, people are like, oh, really? Oh, my goodness, that's... Like, it's like a big deal. That's like in his job description. That's like if you go to freaking Jersey Mike's and there's a guy working at Jersey Mike's or Subway or whatever saying that he's going to actually put the meat on the sandwich this time. Like, you know what I mean? I don't even know. That was a bad analogy. I don't even care. Like, it's in your job description, man. It doesn't... Your job is not to stand there as a fan and then, like, look, just... confounded every time something bad happens to our team. Your job is to watch film and game plan and make adjustments.
Yeah, so it's hilarious to me. This only happens like once a year that they like have to specifically point it out. Like, oh, this time we watched some film, guys. Like, how many times have we seen that? Like, oh, we had to watch the whole third quarter of that game at the beginning of the season because coach made us watch film on the plane home. It's like, wait, don't you normally watch film at the games? Like it just like it's always puzzling to me.
It's like I honestly, in high school and college, I feel like we watched more film on ourselves than the Blazers do on themselves. I'm not kidding.
Well, in the Pelican series, Rondo called out. He said it was obvious that they didn't watch film and stuff. So it'll be interesting to see. I mean, you can watch film. It doesn't mean you like know how to like analyze it and break it down. I hope as a coach in the NBA you would. But hi, Mike. I don't know why he said hi, Eric, when he's been in chat this whole time.
Yeah, you literally just said Stotts is cute, so I don't know.
But yeah, so it'll be really interesting to see. And for the people saying that maybe Stotts was just hiding the defensive game plan, we've had to win like every game. We haven't been able to afford to not like throw out a magic game plan because we need to save it for the playoffs. Like we wouldn't have been able to afford to do that. We needed to win these games.
And
so
you don't save defensive game plans for the playoffs, right? Like, it's not like some unique set that nobody's seen before, right? There are, like, 5, like, main pick-and-roll defensive schemes, and every team knows them, you know what I mean? It's not like it's anything secretive, so there's no point to save a defensive scheme.
So he just believed in us and knew we were going to pull out those games.
Yeah, he's just laughing at us.
LeVert was going to miss that shot, otherwise we wouldn't even have seen the adjustments on defense and all that stuff. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Right,
I'd be on vacation. I'd be on summer vacation right now if LeVert hit that shot. I'd be on a beach in Maui right now. I wish I was on a beach in Maui, not going to lie. But, yeah, I don't... did we lag a little bit? We lagging slightly? Open the door.
We didn't have any lag on the post-game show last night.
I know. That was actually for like 2.5 hours. It was better. I think we're back. As I was saying, I got distracted by Maui. Can you guys hear us, by the way? I need a vacation, man.
We're good now.
Imagine a post-game stream after winning the championship with me on the beach in Maui. That's 2025. That's happening. But yeah, so I lost my train of thought. We were talking about the pick and roll schemes. The pick and roll schemes. What was I saying?
That there's only 5 basic.
Yeah, there's only 5, so you're not going to save a pick and roll scheme for the playoffs. Like, I hope that Stotts switches things up. I think if Stotts switches up his pick and roll scheme on a consistent basis and we run each scheme solidly, I think we have a really good chance to win the series. Like, I wouldn't say like we'd be the favorite, but like I think we would have like a 35% chance to win this series if Stotts coached a good defensive game, right? We still have problems like nobody like built to guard LeBron. Like, obviously that hurts us, and if Collins is out, like, we'll have to see with Dwayne. Obviously there's a bunch of other questions, but we're so good offensively. It's like we just have to figure out something defensively, slow them down a little bit, and that gives us a legitimate chance, I feel like.
Yeah, so a guy like LeBron has seen every type of defensive coverage, right? You're not going to fool him. The way you fool him is going into the game thinking that he's going to see one coverage and we do several different things, and every time he comes off a pick we're doing something different, or we give him a look that he hasn't seen from us before expecting something different. And that's why we harp on it every single time when we run the drop coverage. Like, Karis LeVert went into that game thinking, I'm going to come off this pick and there's not going to be a defender between me and like 5 feet.
Yeah.
And I could just go right at him and do my little turnaround and score every time off him.
I mean, and that's the big difference is like, if he knows what scheme we're running, he doesn't have to make a read. He already knows people are. If he doesn't know what scheme we're running, he has to come off the screen and then make a read. And in that split second, that could be the difference between, Melo getting back in front of him, or us rotating over to stop an AD lob, or, like that split second can make a difference. The split second that he has to do to make the read. And honestly, like, he's not perfect. He's not always going to make the same read. He is always going to make the right play if he knows exactly what our defense is. But if he doesn't know and he has to like make a split second decision, split second read, he might make some mistakes.
Yeah, exactly.
So,
and I don't know if you saw, but so I think it was Taylor Rooks asked LeBron like what he expects to see from the Blazers, and he went like on for like 2 minutes, like in depth, like what kind of looks he had, like all the players' names right, like I'm sure like half the players in the league don't even know like Zach Collins' name or like what he does or who he is or what he looks like or whatever. Like, but like LeBron's a student of the game. He's smart, and Rondo's that same way. That's why you get playoff Rondo, because if you run the same schemes, Rondo picks up on that. In that Pelican series, he was calling out the plays before we even ran them on offense. Like, plays. So, like, it's easy to stop both our offense and to exploit our defense if you know exactly what we're doing every time down the court. And yes, we have guys like Damian Lillard and CJ McCollum who can overcome that on offense. But right now, we do not have that's when the personnel comes into play. We do not have the personnel to overcome coaching deficiencies on defense. And so we need to find a way to put our personnel in the best position. And that is the job of the coach. Regardless of what your personnel is, you have to find a way. And he cannot get away with just letting this team win on its own against a good team like the Lakers.
Yep. So we got to figure out something defensively in this series. If we keep playing the defense the same way we've played defense in this bubble, we are guaranteed to lose. We have to have some sort of defense improvement. The easiest form of defensive improvement is to run different stuff. And I want to, let's trap LeBron and let's, make other guys beat us. If they get open threes, I have that. Like, that could still be our best chance to win. If Danny Green is struggling, if KCP is struggling, Caruso isn't a great shooter. Rondo definitely isn't a great shooter. Dion Waiters is super inconsistent. J.R. Smith, hasn't really been playing, but if he's in there, he's also super inconsistent, even if he's open. So, that's the thing is, I'd rather live with inconsistent players. Kyle Kuzma is another one who's super inconsistent, who only shot 30% from three for the season. He's been shooting good in the bubble, but he's streaky. So if he's struggling, I think, living with those guys shooting, even if they're somewhat open, that's better than just letting LeBron get downhill in a 2v1 situation with AD on a pick and roll and just throwing lobs on our heads or going downhill and scoring at the rim, which LeBron is great at. Which one would you guys rather have, chat? I'd rather have Dion Waiters hit 4 threes in order to beat us than, because that gives us the best chance of winning.
And other than Kuzma, pretty much everyone else on that roster has struggled mightily in this bubble situation. So, the strategy should be, against the Rockets, we say Harden is not going to beat us, right? We want Westbrook to shoot threes. We want some of those, like a Rondo, to shoot threes just like he would Westbrook. Now, against the Pelicans, he hit some threes, and that's really frustrating and really hard to defend. If Rondo hits 50% of his threes in this series or whatever, we're probably screwed either way, if he's playing big minutes.
Yeah.
So you just have to live with that, and you just can't keep letting the star or the player who controls the ball, the player with the highest usage rate on the other team, control the game every single game. It's just not a recipe for success, because then you need superhuman performances on the offensive end just to pull it out in the end, and we cannot do that.
Yep. So as far as the offense goes, they are probably going to trap Dame. That's what I assume they'll do. We have to, and I showed this on the last stream, but I will refresh it in case you guys didn't see that part, and because this is the preview, we have to, if we're going to run pick and roll and they're trapping hard and we're struggling against it, we need to move our pick and roll to the side. We need to, let me move this overlay. Nope, not that. There we go. Side pick and roll is where you, instead of running, let me just set up this floor. Bear with me for a second. I'm going to set up the floor for you guys. All right. So side pick and roll is where you run the pick and roll over on one side of the floor. Everybody else is on the other side of the floor. Most of our pick and rolls come up top with a couple guys over here, a guy over here, and in the middle of the floor. I think one of the best ways to deal with the trap, if you still want to run pick and roll, which we love our pick and roll, so we still will, is to move it to the side. So you have Dame with the ball, Nurkic pick and roll, Dame dribbling off this way. If this center comes up and traps, you have Nurkic rolling. If Dame is able to get this to Nurkic, Nurkic is in a good position rolling here because A, he's not in the middle of the court. B, he already has momentum running towards the rim on the catch. C, he's already facing the rim when he catches the ball compared to if they ran it here and Nurkic caught it at the free throw line. Most of the time we run a pick and roll in the middle of the floor. Nurkic is the outlet pass. Nurkic catches it at the free throw line, and his back is to the basket, so he has to catch, turn, and then see the floor. He has no momentum towards the rim. I like this. We've seen this a little bit in the bubble. Nurkic catching the ball here and just rumbling down and just throwing down dunks on people here. So I'm down with that. The thing is, if they rotate over on him, Nurkic can see all his passing options. All three of these guys, boom, boom, boom. If Nurkic isn't here, if Dame can't get the ball to him, you would want CJ kind of up court if possible to get a pass there and then try and attack quick. I just like the angling of this situation better. I think Dame's not really in trouble if he gets trapped here because he can back dribble to half court and CJ can come up and Dame can move the ball. If we run pick and roll in the middle of the court and Dame gets trapped here, let's move CJ over here. If Dame gets trapped here, it's possible that this is a worse position for Dame to be in. Because if he back dribbles, they're just going to keep eating him up, and he doesn't really have an outlet in this scenario, right? They're able to take away Nurkic pretty easily, and he doesn't have an outlet in this type of situation. So I'll need to do some film study because it's kind of hard to explain just the floor setup of all this. But we got to, if we're gonna run pick and roll and they're trapping, we got to just set up the floor in a way where we can take advantage of it. There's multiple ways to do this. I'm not going to cover all of them. That would take too long and be too complex. Simple way of saying it is we just need to set up the floor where if they're trapping, we can hopefully get easy buckets out of it. And I don't mean wide open threes. I'd love to get good shooters with wide open threes, but if we have a 4-on-3 advantage, we should at least some of the time be able to get good shots around the rim. So I think that's kind of what we need to do if we're being trapped.
And we also need to ease the burden of Dame by letting guys like CJ and Melo occasionally bring the ball up so he's not having to face if he's trying to deal with a double team every time down the court, that takes its toll. And by the end of the game, you're worn out from having to do so much on not only on the offensive end to try to get around these double teams, but on the defensive end, we're not in the best position to guard the Lakers. So he's having to exert that much more energy on offense or defense as well. So we can't have him always be the guy every time trying to break these traps. Let Melo create a little bit from the top and have Dame come off some off-ball flares and screens and stuff and let him cut back door and see if we can get a couple easy baskets.
I'm going to illustrate something to your point right here. You know how I just set it up with run inside pick and roll with Dame having the ball and coming off here and Nurkic rolling like that if Dame gets trapped? Something we could do is instead of having Dame have the ball and running off like that, you could have CJ have the ball, Nurkic setting the screen, and then Dame running off. And then if they try and trap that and they overplay that and Davis comes up, it's very easy for Dame to go backdoor on him, right? Or if they both come up and this guy comes up, it's really easy for Nurkic. You know what I mean? It's a lot harder to trap out of that. And the thing is, if none of it is open, and if Dame comes off a screen and gets trapped and nobody's open, he's being trapped, right? He's not in a good position. If nothing's open and CJ has the ball up top, we're still in a fine position. You know what I mean? We're still in a fine position. We can still work from there. So that's the thing, is could be that simple. Instead of walking Dame down and having him go off a pick and roll with the ball, you could have him off the ball. You could have him corner and have Nurkic come down here more and set these screens. If they don't play up enough, Dame can catch and hit this. If they play up too much, Dame could backdoor. Nurkic is always an option. If neither of that is there, you have Nurkic come up and set a pick and roll. That's what our offense is predicated on anyway. We need to use Dame off the ball. We can be more creative than that, but that's just a simple way of showing, it would basically be the same thing as kind of a pick and roll, the same kind of setup, but just running Dame off the ball instead of having him dribble into it.
Oh, I just hope we play well.
Yeah.
I have this such nervous, anxious energy right now. It's
I'm not nervous. I'm feeling pretty I don't know. At this point, what happens. You know what I mean? Either we'll continue struggling with the same stuff and we might, lose in 4 or 5, right? But it will showcase okay, why are we still game 3, game 4? Why are we still running drop scheme 100% of the time? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't know. Or we could make a run. You know what I mean? I've never been this calm going into a playoff series. I'm just I don't know. I don't know if it's the bubble. I don't know if it's, how much tight basketball we had going into the playoffs, which is pretty rare. Normally we're pretty locked in, but we were playing for our lives. I don't know what it is, but I'm just All right, let's see what happens at this point. Let's see what this team can do. Let's see if Stotts actually makes adjustments and does different things, and let's see what happens.
I just don't want the Dame got swept again crap. Like, please don't get swept.
Yeah, I mean, we got 4 games to win 1, right? Like, I'm not really worried about like the narrative around Dame. People who hate Dame will hate Dame, and Skip will keep being annoying. I'm trying not to pay any attention to Skip. The only
God.
time he gets my attention is when Blazer fans give him too much attention. We need to stop giving Skip Bayless attention. That's what he wants. That's why he's trolling Dame so hard. He wants the attention. He wants the ratings, right? So don't help him out. Don't reward him for hating on Dame. You reward him if you give him attention. Even if it's negative attention, you reward him. And, like, I might say a thing or two here, but there are some fans that are just, like, constantly hanging on every word Skip Bayless says. And it's like, that is what he wants. RIP Blazers, they're not going to fire Stotts. I literally said at the start of the stream to you for the millionth time, Stotts is not going to get fired. I've said that.
His job is 100% safe.
And you've been watching every stream, man. I don't get it.
Specifically to you.
I don't get it, man. Stotts is not going to get fired. It's not even a question. I don't know how else we got to say it for some people to realize, because people keep like bringing it up like it's a possibility. It's not going to happen. If it happens, I'll retire from this channel. Like, I won't, but like it's not going to happen.
Alex Wolf was asking what the Vegas odds on this series are. So if you bet on Portland, you get 4 times your money if they win the series. The Lakers are... So that's pretty low odds for an 8 versus 1. Because the other 8 versus 1, the Magic are 35 to 1, and we're 4 to 1. So,
yeah.
So Vegas obviously is taking some money on the Blazers, or thinks this is going to be a lot closer than it would appear as a normal 8 versus 1, which obviously us Blazer fans know this isn't like a typical 8 seed. Mm-hmm. But the Lakers are, you have to bet like $525 just to win $100 for them to win the series, which isn't super high either. That same Bucks series, so you'd have to bet $2,000 just to win $100 for the Bucks to win the series. So, yeah, it's still pretty heavily favored for the Lakers, but that's a lot closer than I would have thought. Yeah. Going into this series.
Yeah, I think this is the most even 1-8 series in terms of betting odds. So we'll see how that plays out, of course.
But you got all these stupid Laker fans acting like they're the underdogs and like, oh, everyone's picking Portland.
Yeah, they're just being stupid. They're just being stupid. It's typical Laker fans, man. They're weird. But another thing in terms of like our offense this series, I think we need to make it a priority to get out and run. Like, Dame could get some of his easiest looks getting out and running. If we're struggling in the half court, if they're trapping Dame and stuff, we need to ratchet up the pace. Like, sure, the Lakers play good in a fast-paced game, too. LeBron in the open court is tough. But if we're taking care of the ball in transition and not forcing bad shots, if we're pushing early and trying to get good shots in transition and then falling back to our half-court offense, like, it doesn't mean that they're going to get any extra runouts or transition buckets because of that, So our offense, it might be key for us to ratchet up the pace if Dame's getting trapped and Dame can't get good looks in the half-court and they're being physical with us in the half-court and not getting fouls called on them. So we're not really a running team, but it needs to be something that we look at if we can't get half-court offense going. Because with how bad our defense is, we can't have like 6-7 minute offensive lulls. We'll lose, right? So if we're struggling for a couple minutes, we need to start trying to run. And honestly, I'd say we need to look to run just in general, not even necessarily just when we struggle. Like, we need to be aggressive in terms of looking for run-out opportunities.
Yeah, and especially knowing, what we saw from Rondo and AD and guys like that the last time we played those guys in the playoffs, I don't think you want to get stuck with Dame around half court getting trapped. Mm-hmm. If you see that constantly in game 1 and throughout this series, it means we are not doing things the right, and it's it's going to lead to a very short series
Just
if you
as
constantly
yeah.
see traps up top.
Just as long as we don't play into it like we did in the Pelican series, where we
Yeah.
kept running pick and roll at like half court. Like I wish I could show film on how bad it was in that Pelican series, how we just played into the trap, but we kept just running pick and roll at half court. We kept, this was literally the series. Is you had Dame and you had Nurk, and Nurkic would set a screen. I don't know why they were running it up here. It didn't make any sense. You'd
Or
have
Ed Davis, yeah.
like, and Dame would come off and just get absolutely trapped to hell, and then like there would be like a thin passing window like here, but like Nurkic would like run here, like he wouldn't get into the passing window, he'd like just run away, and Dame couldn't throw the ball here. And you'd have a small forward here. Like Dame had no option because he can't throw it through AD. He can't throw it there. He can't throw it down there. You know, if Nurkic stayed in the passing window, this guy would rotate up and this power forward would rotate up. Like, Dame ain't making this pass. Dame ain't passing it from here to there. And you'd have basically everybody
And if
covered.
he does, it would get stolen.
Yeah,
So.
like, and if you, Nurkic guarded, the small forward guarded, CJ guarded, Dame trapped at half court. The only guy who's like open is so far away. I don't know what you're doing, but the only guy who's open is so far away that Dame can't give him the ball there. That's the thing. Is people were like, oh, Al-Farouq Aminu didn't shoot well enough. You know, this was Al-Farouq Aminu. He didn't shoot well enough, which he shot 43% on the series on over 3 threes a game. But people said, oh, the reason we're struggling with the trap is because this guy right here can't shoot well enough. When this would be like what we were playing into. It's like, how is this guy not shooting well enough? The problem here, when Dame can't even get him the ball and everybody else is guarded, Dame is trapped at half court. It doesn't make any sense.
Yep. And well, you did see in the fourth quarter of Game 4, we tried to run through Nurk in the post, and it had some success. We almost came back and won Game 4. Not that we would have won the series, but I'm hoping we try different things, because going away from the pick and roll actually worked in the fourth quarter of that game, but whatever. I just hope we don't run right into the strength of their defense.
Yeah, I'm just wondering how they're going to incorporate Wenyen offensively, because that is, like, he had a 3 last game. That was cool, and he can dunk and stuff, but offensively he is not going to help us. Like, he's going to hurt us. Even though Zach wasn't great, like, Zach is a better offensive player at this point than Wenyen, so it's like, are we going to put Wenyen, like, on the block, basically? Are we going to put Wenyen down here, you know, and then I'll just get rid of the defense? Like, are we going to run pick and roll, like, with Nurkic rolling there and Dame coming off here where he has 2, like, dump-off options, or what?
What I wanted to do is start in the corners, and then if he's left open, just dive to the basket.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And hopefully we see him or lob it up to him, because that lob to him will be there all series if they play Dame and CJ the way
we saw this with Whiteside last game, the one lob that Nurkic had to Whiteside. So, like, I'll illustrate it here. I only need to put 3 defenders out here. Forget about the small forward and the shooting guard, basically. So, if Dame gets trapped, right, and if Dame's able to hit Nurkic, a lot of times this power forward is the guy helping over. The problem I had is when, like, this guy was Evan Turner or something. These 2 guys are guarded. This guy was like Evan Turner or Al-Farouq Aminu when he was struggling, or Mo Harkless, and they just sit in the corner, and Nurk would kick out there, and they'd miss. When all they have to do is when the ball gets through to Nurk and they see their guy helping over, they just have to rim run, right? If this guy helps up, Nurkic can lob it over the top. And this is what we saw with the Whiteside. Nurkic is a good passer. You know, if this guy helps up, this guy should already be running towards the rim. That's a lob pass for a dunk. And if this guy doesn't fully help up, then Nurkic can rumble down the lane. Instead of just having this guy sit in the corner. You know, I don't want it to be like, when you sit in the corner and they're missing threes and people say, oh, you can't do anything with Wenyen out here. He needs to be playing to his strength, which is he's an athletic big, so he needs to be diving baseline. This is what I mean by diving baseline. Instead of sitting in the corner, he's diving baseline to the rim. So you guys might hear me say that this series. That's what I mean, diving baseline when Nurkic is rolling, so that Nurkic has this lob option over the top, because his power forward has to pick one of the 2.
Russell Westbrook with the wow moment. He says he just figured out that how stupid it was to keep running pick and roll when they were doing that. Yeah, welcome to our world.
Did you just realize that?
We talked about that for the whole year now. But
if I could show the film from it, people would be like catch on so quickly.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I like the first YouTube video I ever made on basketball. I was like breaking down film or something with like subtitles or whatever. I might still have that somewhere. I might try and find that, and then shoot, I might publish it on this channel, on like the second channel or something, because we can learn a lot from that series, a lot from what we did wrong in that series. I really want to find that video now, actually.
Yeah, find it, man.
I'm gonna try. It's not edited well, and it's weird, but you know, it's the first video I ever really did breaking down film or anything, so it's not the best. I'd obviously do a better job now that I am experienced, but
that exactly what you just said, Russell Westbrook, is why, like, Tori and I were already starting to question a lot of what Stotts did, but watching him continually run pick and roll right into the trap during that series, I knew right then. And it was game, like I said, it was till the fourth quarter of Game 4 that we finally stopped doing it. It was just crazy to me. And then, like, we didn't learn from that series, and then the next year we do the same thing again, and it's just so frustrating. And that's when we, ever since that series, we've been like, dude, like, this guy does not learn. He does not make adjustments. He thinks his system will work the next time, even though it hasn't worked against this same team multiple times. And we see, like, once again, we always bring this up, but we have a good defensive game plan against the Rockets. Try it up. It's not the personnel. We have the personnel to stop James Harden, but we don't have the personnel to stop Jason Richardson or Karis LeVert. Like, that's crazy. That's stupid. Like,
and that's the thing. That's what I've realized, is that really the only thing that I really dislike, there's other things I don't like, but the only thing that I really, really hate about Stotts is that he doesn't adjust, and he's not like diverse enough in terms of his defensive schemes. So then also the offense that he runs, you know, the isolation, pick and roll heavy offense. Like, if he was more diverse, if he, like, you know, and you look at him against the Rockets, he comes out with a decent defensive game plan, and we play our best defense in the bubble, right? If he did that more and switched up his schemes more defensively and offensively, we just got more consistent ball movement and used Dame off the ball more. If we just did that, I would not be, like, against Stotts at all being our head coach. The problem is the fact that we don't do that is just... That's like basic stuff that we should be doing. And that's stuff you have to do in the playoffs. That's why I'm always like, I don't think he's the right coach for a playoff team. I think he's the right coach for a rebuilding team. But like, that's like really the only big like sticking point with me that just gets me super frustrated.
Exactly, because even if we have tremendous success tomorrow night and win Game 1, those same things probably will not work like in Game 2 and 3 and 4. Like, you have to like then throw another wrinkle on top of that, and then another wrinkle.
Yep.
And we're not even confident that he can throw one wrinkle into it, let alone 3, 4, 5 in a series to get you over the top when you're playing against a better team. And so, like, if we can't even do that against a team like the Pelicans when they were a lower seed than us, like, what? it doesn't leave me much hope for other series like this one. And the X factor is we do have guys, like I said, that can bail us out on offense. Dame and CJ, Melo are 3 of the best ISO players in the league, so we can still get buckets. We have a playmaking center who can create for others through his great passing, and he can score a little bit as well. So, like, we do have the players to overcome that and win a couple games, even if our game plans are bad. I'm just worried that over the course of an entire playoffs, you know, we get to the Western Conference Finals last year and we don't have anything for the Warriors because, like, we didn't even try to do anything. It's like, oh, we got to the Western Conference Finals. What does it matter now? Let's just try to win. And, like, we actually could have won most of those games if we had a better game plan. But it's just frustrating. Yeah.
We'll see what happens, man. Like, I will harp on adjustments and like, if we just do the same thing all 4 games and struggle because of it, I will... Like, you guys will see a new level. Maybe not a new level. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see how I am. We'll see. I don't know how I'm going to be if we do that. I will be so frustrated, bro. You guys will get some really good rants if that happens from both of us if we just keep doing the same things. Because, like, now, like, it mattered before, but we were winning in the bubble, right? And we were still, like, frustrated after some of these games. We were winning. If we're losing in the playoffs to the freaking Los Angeles Lakers, that's just a whole new level of frustration for us being on stream, because of course this is still our first season, even though we've been doing this for like 11 months. It's still our first season. That's a whole new level. So I don't know. You guys will get some good, like, tune in. If we lose or win, you better tune into that post-game show, because it will be entertaining, and you can vent with us and we can vent together, or we can celebrate together. We'll see. I think honestly it's not even like going into the series, there's not even a whole lot more to even talk about, right? We have some talented offensive players. We've touched on, some of the game plan things and some of like kind of just the mindset we need to have going into the series. We will go more in depth after each game though, because then we'll be able to see specific things within this series between these two teams, and we'll be able to touch on it.
And like, people think we just absolutely hate Stotts and won't ever give him credit. That is not true. If Stotts comes out with a brilliant game plan tomorrow, you guys saw it we gave Stotts credit after the Houston game. But it still makes us question why he can't do that against other teams.
Yeah.
And that's frustrating too. But if Stotts comes out with a brilliant game plan, we take game one tonight. Tori and I will give Stotts credit. Like, we're not.
Yeah. Why wouldn't we praise Stotts for doing what we want to do? Obviously if he does what we want of him, then of course we're gonna praise him. We're not gonna hate on him for taking our ideas, because our ideas are good. So. I mean, yeah, we praised him after the Houston game. If he's like versatile and switches up his schemes, and our offense doesn't become insanely stagnant for a quarter, which it always seems to almost do, like, what could we really complain about? He kind of has to play Mario tomorrow.
But
like, that's not even gonna be something I complain about, really.
And the thing that drives me crazy is, like, most of the people who call us out for just hating and not like ever, you don't ever point out anything good. Those are the guys who are always, like, they have it made for this series, because if we lose, they'll just be like, well, we were the 8th seed and didn't have Ariza, and Collins was out, and like, what is Stott supposed to do? His team isn't as good as the Lakers.
Surface level stuff.
Yeah, and then if they win, they'll be like, look at what Stotts did with no talent, blah, 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 like, He took down LeBron. How could you ever question his coaching ever again? It's the same thing that Skip's doing. He's setting it up.
Mm-hmm. It's smart, to be honest, for Skip to do it.
So Skip, after the series, you guys watch. If the Blazers win this series and Lillard plays well, Skip is going to take credit for properly motivating Dame and taking down. He's going to say it was all him for like, if he didn't mention all these things, Dame wouldn't have taken notice and gone crazy or whatever.
And he's also going to bash the hell out of LeBron, because that's the thing. He's the Dame and LeBron hater, so he has somebody to bash after this series.
And if we win in spite of Dame, like, struggling in these games, or if Dame defers to other people and we win because of that, because, like, that's what Skip's been doing the last few games, is, like, Dame has been getting double teamed at the end of games, and he's been giving up the ball and letting his teammates win the games. And like, all Skip will say was, Dame didn't even score the last 4 minutes of the game. How much of a superstar could he be? Like, without even, like, understanding the.
I mean, like, I think he understands. I think he's just trolling, man.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
But, like, his narrative, it works, what I mean? That's the thing. It's like, there's certain narratives where it's like you can't, like, it has an out, and the whole thing is like, it's, our talent isn't good enough, so it's either good Stotts or what can Stotts do? You know what I mean? That's the thing, though. I am not trying to have conversations all series long just based on the same surface level stuff that that people talk about all series long, right? Like, I can respect somebody disagreeing with me if they can actually, like, talk basketball within the lines, not personnel and 8 seed and no Reza and just that type of stuff. Like, that stuff gets old. You made it to the Western Conference Finals. That's just surface level stuff. Let's talk within the lines. This series, man, I just wish everybody would try and talk about what's going on within the lines. Let's talk scheme. Let's talk rotations. Let's talk what we're doing offensively. Like, let's talk about stuff within the lines, not the stuff on the surface, because that is for the people that like to watch basketball casually, and that's completely fine, but that's not what we do. So if those people want to watch basketball casually, fine. Don't call us out, though, because we want to break down within the lines, So that's my whole mindset this series. I'm not even going to really try and partake in any of that surface level stuff.
And Bruno is in here right now. Unfortunately, we're blocked by the account he tagged us in, but
What do you mean?
the Jason Peterson perspective.
Oh yeah.
So he tagged us both in a Twitter thing that's saying like it said something to the effect of no Zach to guard AD, you have no Ariza to guard LeBron, and somehow these haters will still find a way to make it Stott's fault, and that's the surface level stuff you're talking about. It's like
It's like really that's all it comes down to basketball wise is like, oh, if you don't have a reason Hood, the defense struggles. Like basketball ain't even close to being that simple. It's not just, oh, you don't have a reason Hood, so you're just automatically screwed. Basketball is a far complex game. There's so many different intricacies to running a defense that aren't just affected by, oh, we don't have Ariza. And that's what people don't realize.
Why even show up to the bubble if we're just gonna have that defeatist attitude? Oh, we don't have Ariza. What are we gonna do? But that's seemingly how Stotts coaches sometimes, and that's what makes us so mad. Is that he's known now since today. He's probably known since about Saturday afternoon that there was a chance Zach couldn't play in this game. So the thing is, it's his job as coach to put his players in the best position to win this game possibly, and if he just does the same thing and expects them to play the same way regardless of who the lineup is or who's in there, that's just crazy to me. You need to try to put your personnel in the best position to win, and just throwing them out there to the same scheme year after year, game after game does not work, and we've seen switching it up does work. And look at Nick Nurse. He threw a freaking box and won, and everyone made fun of him, but they won the freaking finals. So you can't make fun of someone who won the finals with some gimmicky defense. Like, it worked. It worked. They beat the Warriors. I mean, I know it's injuries, but...
Yeah, and I mean, like, saying we can do different scheme things to give us a better chance of success doesn't mean that we think Ariza wouldn't help. Like, of course he'd help. Yeah. That's the thing. It's like Bruno in here saying, let's be honest, we wish we had a Ariza right now. Like, of course. That doesn't mean that Stotts' hands are tied, right? That's what I mean. Basketball is a complex game with many intricacies to it. It's not just one or the other. It's not just Ariza or coaching. You can be missing Ariza and completely fail as a coach on the defensive end, right? Just because you're missing Ariza doesn't mean you should be immune to any criticism as the head coach, right? If you are missing Ariza, which he is, and then you just run the same scheme all series long, why shouldn't we criticize you? You know what I mean? Like, that's the thing. It's like, we're not criticizing him like specifically for the defense being bad. We're criticizing him for not doing anything about it. We're criticizing him for not changing up schemes and not doing his job as a coach, right?
Yep.
It's deeper than that. It's not just because the defense is bad. It's because he's not doing enough to try to have a better result. It's almost like we're accepting giving up 130 points per game because we just run the same scheme that we did the last 4 games when we gave up 120, 130 points per game, and we're just going to keep doing the same thing. Like, that's the thing. It's like, don't do that. Don't bang your head into a brick wall. Like, it's okay, we don't have a reason. That doesn't mean we have to bang our head into a brick wall running the same scheme. We can switch it up. We can try different things, and I will criticize Stotts if he doesn't, and that has nothing to do with Trevor Ariza.
And I keep bringing this up because it's the most recent example, but the fourth quarter of that game against the Brooklyn, with our season on the line, we were still running the same defense with a couple minutes left in that game that was getting burnt the entire game. And this is what we're trying to tell people, is that it doesn't matter. Like, yes, Ariza would have been better defending in those situations, but the fact that you wouldn't even try to send a double team or a blitz or get the ball out of Karis LeVert's hands in the fourth quarter of a game where he scored 37 points, and other than Tyler Johnson, no one else was really doing much in that game, maybe TLC a little bit too. But it's just crazy to us that you wouldn't try to alter the game by not letting him do the same thing every time down the court. It's just crazy. I don't understand how anyone could watch that game and say, this guy's doing a great job as a coach. He's just doesn't have the personnel to get it done. If he would have thrown a bunch of different defenses at him, like they tried to deny LeVert the ball, like from like even catching the ball, if they would have double teamed him a few times in the fourth quarter, if they would have, done something different, hard hedge and recover, then I would have been like, dude, the guy just got hot and made some plays. We tried everything we possibly could. We did this, we did that. It didn't work. But like, it just drives me crazy that we just keep running the same thing against every team, and it doesn't work. And we're just like, oh, nothing you can do. Personnel. What's the coach supposed to do? Mm-hmm. Like, don't blame him.
It's just too simplistic. You know, I mean, that whole narrative and thinking is just too simplistic. That's the thing. Basketball's a far more complicated and intricate game than a lot of people will lead you on to believe. So that's the thing. Going into the series, we need everybody to do as much as they can within their power in order to win the series, right? You have to have everybody step up, right? Stotts is not powerless because he doesn't have Ariza. Like, that's basically what people are saying. Stotts is powerless on the defensive end because he doesn't have Ariza. That is not the case. Yeah, it hurts us, but he's not powerless. There's still many different things he can try and do to hopefully put a better defense out there. The thing is, without Ariza, we defended the Rockets pretty damn well when we did something different. So in this series, tying it back to the preview because we just kind of went on a tangent, but that's what we do. We got to do different things. We got to switch it up. And there's no excuse for not doing so. And the reason isn't an excuse for us not throwing out different schemes out there. And that's the only way we're going to have a legitimate chance to beat the Los Angeles Lakers is if we switch things up defensively and we give LeBron different looks. Unless, we outscore him 30-0 when LeBron's off the court for 3 minutes each half, because they do struggle without LeBron in there. But, LeBron's going to play 40 minutes a game, right? So it's not even going to be that long with him off the court, right? We do have to make headway during those stretches, I feel like, because their bench isn't that good. We have to have our, we're not that deep too, but we play CJ with the bench, and we have Whiteside, and we have Gary Trent Jr. off the bench. That's better than what they got. We have to make some headway with that. And I do you want to touch on that real quick on our bench? Do you have any thoughts on our bench versus theirs?
Much like Dame and CJ, they'll probably have either LeBron or AD on the court at all times. So you just have to take advantage when only one of those guys is on versus two. And that's the time when you better see double teams on the one guy who is in there.
Yep.
I kind of understand some of the times when they're both in there making plays. But if only AD is in the game and they're trying to play through him and we're letting him go one-on-one and score and create that's going to be really frustrating. So you have to double team either LeBron or AD when they're the only one of those two in the games. I don't expect that to be very much in this series. They'll probably play 40 minutes like Dame and CJ will. But yeah, and then LeBron even said it. He's worried about Melo. So you have to take advantage of that. And so I'd like to see Melo maybe play a little bit with the bench more just to get some more shots if he's not getting a lot of looks with the starters with Dame and CJ. Not saying anything bad about Melo. Melo's been great. I'm saying I want him to be more of the focal point at certain times in the game and maybe get him going. And LeBron's going to keep an eye on him. He's going to gravitate a little bit of the defense towards him. And that can do nothing but help Dame and CJ in this series. So as far as the rest of the bench, I mean, like you said, Mario's going to have to play a little bit, unfortunately, with Collins out. We don't have Nas again, so we won't get to see him at all or see his defense or what he could do with LeBron. And, yeah, Trent's hopefully going to be on fire in this series. I think he's going to get looks. I mean, if you have a lineup of Dame, CJ, Trent, Melo, and Nurk to close out some of these games, since the Lakers at some points, especially at the end of games, go smaller too with AD at the center, Trent's going to get some open looks and some key looks in this series, and I hope he continues to knock it down. I have every confidence that he's, like you said, the best bench player in this series and will get the job done like he has been. And then we're going to need him to play bigger than he is and D-up LeBron at times in this series as well. So we'll see how that goes. Gary's got that dog in him. I think he can...
I'm excited for that matchup.
I think he can get hit a little bit under his skin, maybe like a Collins would. And that's one
You
thing
sure
we're
you want to
missing.
get under LeBron's skin though?
Um, I don't know. LeBron's a little different than AD. And we saw it last year. LeBron activated playoff mode, and I don't think they won many games the rest of the season after he activated that. So, like, I don't know. Like he's the type that gets super frustrated on the court sometimes, especially with his own teammates if things aren't going well. So a little bit of like contention on their
Yeah.
end might be good if they start bickering. You got guys like Waiters and J.R. Smith who have clashed with LeBron in the past and could obviously start some in-house fighting there. It'd be good to kind of mix it up in this
you
series.
know what
I mean,
you
that's
do
hard
to play to that. You know what you do to play to that. You make it hard for LeBron to get the ball, which is going to frustrate him, right? That's the thing. With Gary Trent Jr. in the game, he might be a little undersized guarding him one-on-one, but he's not too undersized to, like, deny him the ball, right? And maybe able to throw it over the top of your... Like, but anyway, you have Gary deny LeBron when Gary's in there. Just all-out denial and just try his hardest to keep LeBron from getting the ball. And hopefully he doesn't get backdoor cut, but LeBron's going to get frustrated that. If that happens... Then you could have guys like Dion say, well, we've been trying to get LeBron the ball this possession. We can't give him the ball, so I'm going to go on Waiters Island and hit a million crossovers and shoot a step back contested three. That would frustrate LeBron.
Yep. And then my other key off the bench is going to be Whiteside. He played really well in that game in LA that we won. We need his energy off the bench. We need the good Whiteside in this series. I like his matchup with the bigs. JaVale McGee is someone who has killed us in playoff in a playoff series in the past, and we all know what he's done with Golden State and stuff. But
You got Dwight Howard.
Dwight Howard as well.
Whiteside, that's interesting.
But Whiteside matches up well with those two, maybe even better than Nurk does, because Nurk struggles a little bit with those lob target bigs. But I just really hope we get the. I don't see how he couldn't be into the series or want to win these games, but I just really hope we get super energetic and into the game focused Whiteside.
No, Whiteside misses his horses by his house. You know, he's always posting them on the Instagram. So I think he wants to go back to his horses, the horse himself. But no, Whiteside should be engaged. I mean, I don't know. I think. He's been fine coming off the bench. Like, he's okay with it right now, you know. And Nurkic could easily get into foul trouble. That's the thing. If we run drop scheme and just LeBron's just going at Nurkic and all game long, Nurkic is going to have 3 fouls in, like, the first quarter. If we do that. If Nurkic plays, like, 8-9 minutes, right? I expect Nurkic to be in constant foul trouble this series. I am hoping, praying that we can get Nurkic at least 30 minutes a game. I think there's a serious possibility Nurkic gets less than that because he's in foul trouble. In that situation, we need Whiteside to step up big for like 20 to 25 minutes a game.
Well, that's the other problem, too, with not having Zach is our bigs have been in foul trouble every game in the bubble. So not having another big. And this is why I'm so mad that we only went to Orlando with 13 players. Not that like a guy like Moses Brown would have came in and done a difference, but like there was some veteran bigs we could have picked up just to have an extra body just in case someone went down. But like we're down to 11 players now in this game, and 2 of them are Jalen Adams and Jalen Horde. So we're basically
you're right.
We're basically down to 9 players who can actually play in this series. And luckily there's no back-to-backs, but the whole series is every other day, so there's not a lot of rest in between these games. So, like, yeah.
Jalen Adams scores 12 points off the bench. Nurkic and Whiteside foul out, and it results in Wenyen Gabriel hitting a buzzer-beating 3 to win Game 1. Let's go.
Off a Jalen Horde assist.
You know what's funny is like, okay, there's a couple fan bases that are definitely cheering for us, or like cheering for specific players. You got the Knicks fans definitely cheering for us and cheering for Melo, and I think Knicks fans like Dame, and I think Eastern Conference fans like Dame. You know, he's not in their conference, and I think if it's different when you're in the same conference, you're more of a rival. You got Kings fans I bet, like, because they loved Gabriel when he was there, and they like barely knew him. You know what I mean? Like he played like 7 games for them, like barely played, but like Kings fans loved him. You know, it was like kind of like their project player that they loved. You know, it's like if Jalen Horde went somewhere else and then was starting in Game 1 of the playoffs against like LeBron and AD, right? So I think Kings fans will be excited to see Wenyon start tomorrow, because that was their guy earlier this season before they traded him.
I think there's a lot of fans that don't like the way both LA teams went about getting their team, like Kawhi and PG trying to like play together, and then AD basically forcing a trade to only LA. I know he included New York on there, whatever, but like, how seriously would he have gone to New York? That didn't make a lot of sense. You knew he wanted to go to LA, number one. So just the fact that like he basically pouted and got his way and got traded to LA, I think there's a lot of teams or a lot of players in the league especially that don't want to see either of those teams win it this year and have success after doing it last summer that way.
Yeah. A quick side note, what do you keep playing with?
Nothing.
You did? Yeah. I was honestly just curious what it was. You like flipping through like a deck of cards or something?
Nope. I mean, I'll just keep my hands up like this.
Chat, let's take guesses as to what Eric was playing with.
I don't have anything on my table.
Yeah.
I could have been bumping the microphone. I don't know.
Nope, it definitely wasn't that. You're definitely... we both know you're playing with something. We both know you're lying. I was just curious what it was. But, yeah, I think NBA fans, diehard NBA fans... Oh, you don't want me to change the subject?
No, I'm just saying I'm not playing anything.
Chat, back me up. We all know. But I think diehard.
My pen is here. I wasn't using it. My mouse is here. I wasn't playing with that.
Bro, quit lying, bro. This guy's.
I don't have
capping.
anything. I have my water cup here. I don't have anything else I was playing with.
Then why do I say, "What are you playing with?" and then the noise stops? Explain that.
I don't know what you're talking about. I don't know what noise you're talking about.
Oh, right. Oh, my God, man.
I would keep my hands like this, but I'm wearing
See, like, I can't trust Eric Brandt, man. I can't trust Eric, man. I can't trust him, man. He's lying straight to my face and straight to 47 of you guys, man.
Bro, I'm not. I'm just going to keep my hands like this.
Okay. That works for me. Oh my goodness. You better not stop that. I don't even know if it's on the screen. I think it is. Yeah, you better keep your hands together because I'm tired of hearing that damn noise. That's like, bro, like, because I don't play with my mic anymore, so I've improved. Stop fiddling. The only reason we're still talking about it is because you just didn't tell me. I was just curious. Anyway, when did you send an email? I checked my email earlier today. But anyway, like, I think a lot of diehard fans across the league are cheering for us. Like, casual fans probably want to see the Lakers versus the Clippers, but I feel like a lot of diehard fans would love to see the Lakers get upset in the first round. There's a lot of Eastern Conference fans that don't like LeBron because LeBron was in the East for so long, and they would just love to see LeBron get knocked out in the first round.
He's got a lot of haters. He's got a lot of admirers, too, but yeah.
Yeah. So I think we're kind of like the team that people want to see win in this series for the most part.
Damn it. Alex Morgan caught me. Darn it.
Yeah, probably is, man. Probably is.
Maybe it's just my notebook. I don't know. I'm telling you, I don't have anything.
I think it was your notebook, bro. Yeah, it was. It was that. That's what you were doing. Did you not? Yes, stop.
Okay.
Did you not notice you were doing that?
No, like, when you said that, I wasn't touching anything, I swear. Like, I was just
Bro, you were subconscious. I swear you were subconsciously doing it or something and didn't realize you were doing it.
Okay.
Oh, my goodness. I'll have to play back the audio. Trevin, clip it.
People said they couldn't say anything or hear anything.
Yeah. No, yeah, you're lying.
But
No,
that's what,
no merch for you, man. Since your first freaking shirt went to who knows where, Narnia.
it's not fair.
You're lying to me. Maybe I'm lying to you.
I'm not lying. Why would I lie about that? What reason do I have for lying? If I was playing with something, I would tell you. Like, I don't care. Like, it doesn't benefit me at all to lie in this situation.
Are we officially beefing?
I guess. You're trying to start some beef over something. I'm not even
over you and your
I don't even
damn
care.
notebook. You probably got like anime sketches and shit in there. So
It's just my notepad that I take notes on for like games and stuff.
wait, like how many games of notes do you have in there?
This one is just from the bubble, so I have like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Notes.
16 pages. I should have muted you earlier. Then, I want to see your how many pages of notes you have from the regular season.
I have
Oh my goodness! Don't scroll through it right now.
no, I'm not gonna scroll through them, but I have like I saved all the
Oh
pages.
my goodness!
Well, this isn't even all of them. I just like had them all in a.
Oh my goodness, chat! I didn't know.
Room.
I didn't know this existed. I didn't know this man had like. This man is like streaming and probably just has like a freaking sea of paper just all over his desk.
The like a lot of directions on how to do things are mixed into there, and
What type of organization is that?
well, it's just like I wrote it down, but like I don't really need to use it, but like
You gotta save it on your computer.
and then there's some things that like some predictions like chat did or we did and stuff, and like from the All-Star game or award and stuff. So like I thought I should keep those because I could always refer back to them.
10 years from now, we're gonna have like our own studio, and there's gonna be a library of it of just Eric's notes from over the years. Need you to organize it, and it can be like an almanac or some shit.
Yeah.
Dan Dickow, you just figured that out, man. We've been knowing that. However the kids say it, I don't know. Yeah, we've been knowing that, man. Anyway, so I'm probably gonna log off soon. Let's look at the games tomorrow other than ours. We got Magic and Bucks at 10 a.m. in the morning. We'll see how much the Bucks win by. The line is 12. The Bucks are favored by 12. We'll see if the Magic can make that close, but I expect the Bucks to like be up double digits all game long.
Yeah, I think their strategy should be to just try to sweep them and get a little break before having to play the Heat and Pacers, because that series should go 6 or 7, as long as there's not injuries or anything. So I think it would be good for them to just take care of business and just sit back and relax while watching the Heat and Pacers bloody each other up in that series.
Is Aminu still hurt?
Yes.
Dang.
I don't think he went to the
got hurt a
bubble.
while ago, though.
But he had meniscus surgery.
Yeah,
I think,
but like
it
he
was
got hurt in like November.
I think it was the
August.
it was the year one, like the one Rose had and stuff. It was the bad kind.
Still, that's 9 months ago. But yeah, So I want to see him play, man.
Well, the other thing is too. I mean, if it's close, why even rush it?
Yeah, true. I just with meniscus, like, dang, it happened so long ago. He's still not back. The most intriguing, other than ours, of course. The most, honestly though, there's 3 intriguing games tomorrow. Ours, you got Heat Pacers, you got Thunder Rockets. The Heat and Pacers play at 1 p.m. That's a very intriguing game. You got TJ Warren versus Jimmy Butler. The Pacers are playing without Domantas Sabonis. They do have Victor Oladipo back. We'll see if he can kind of regain some of his old form. We'll see if TJ Warren can keep up his hot play. And then you got the Heat, who nobody expected to be this good this year. We'll see how legit they look. They got a lot of like first time playoff guys. You got Kendrick Nunn, Tyler Hero, Duncan Robinson. Myers hasn't been playing. I would love to see him get some burn. We know he popped off in the Western Conference Finals last year, so playoff performer, right? Playoff performer. It'd be fun to just watch some ex-Blazers play on the big stage, but all of them are either not playing or hurt or not in the bubble. Like, Harkless is on the Knicks, so he ain't playing. Myers isn't playing right now. Aminu is hurt. Cantor only played 8 minutes today, didn't score. Like, the only guy from last year's team that's playing for a different team right now is Seth Curry. That's actually, like, getting minutes. Unless I'm blanking on somebody. Like, Evan Turner's gone. Anyway, Heat and Pacers are going to be intriguing. Miami's favored by 4.5. What would you take on the spread, just for fun? We're not doing picks against the spread, but what you taking there?
I'd probably just take the underdog.
Yeah, I think this is like a straight up toss up, to be honest.
So yeah, 4.5 is kind of big, but yeah, I think the Heat are going to win this series as long as Butler plays in every game.
Yep.
But yeah, if he doesn't, like Butler's so weird. Like the last couple of years, he's been in and out of the lineup so much. It's hard to know because like never like a serious injury, but like he's never healthy fully either. It's just
yeah,
it's got to be frustrating when he's on your team. But because it's so much nicer when you just know someone's hurt and can't play, versus like Nurk, it sucks that he's out, but at least he's out. He's not like trying to play and then he plays a couple games, then he's out for another week, and then he plays again and he's out for 2 weeks, so. But I expect the Heat to be the better team, and I think they're the better matchup against the Bucks too. If the Bucks are going to struggle at any point in the Eastern Conference playoffs, I think it's going to be the Heat that give them the most trouble.
Yep. I'm just excited to see what the Pacers look like. The Pacers are they've always been an intriguing team for me. Always been an intriguing team, and I'm just curious to see what they look like. They could be the team that they're just kind of like a wild card team in the East. Ever since Paul George left, they've just always been like a wild card. They're 45-28. You know what I mean? Looking at their lineup right now, it's like, it's not good, but they find ways to win and be like solid every year. So I'm intrigued to see what they look like. That's a very intriguing series. The last series you got the Thunder versus the Rockets at 3:30 p.m. Rockets playing without Westbrook. I honestly think that the Thunder will win this game by about 8 to 9 points. As much as I hate on Westbrook, that's still a loss that's like hard to replace for Houston. I think OKC is just going to be able to load up on James Harden in a way they couldn't if Westbrook was out there. They don't really have anybody else who can like create shots that well for the offense. If James Harden's getting trapped, they don't really have like playmakers. They got a lot of like 3-and-D shooters. So they're going to have to shoot well. It's just going to come down to shooting for the Rockets, especially now without Westbrook, because that was like their number one like dribble penetrator. James Harden goes downhill a lot, but he does shoot a lot of threes. Westbrook is a guy who just gets the ball in transition, goes. He plays downhill at all times. So missing him is going to be interesting to see how it looks. I hope he comes back because I want to see Thunder versus Westbrook.
I know.
So I hope this series goes long.
It would have been so perfect if he was in this series. It would have been great. But yeah, I still think the Rockets can win without him. But yeah, it's gonna be tough, a lot tougher than it would have been. Mm-hmm. Although Westbrook is the type, much like you were talking about with Waiters, like he can just get crazy and lose a game for you just as much as he can win a game for you. So maybe that helps the Thunder. It's just like if the Thunder are playing to their bigs well, like not even just like Steven Adams, but like a Gallinari, like there's no one that can stop those guys on the Rockets with their lineup. So they just have to take advantage of the size, much like we talked about when the Blazers played them.
Yep. Anyway, that wraps up this preview stream. We'll be on Twitter tomorrow during the game, as always. Hopefully we're not ranting too hard because, if we're down, we're probably going to be ranting about things. If we're up, we're going to be ranting less. Hopefully we're excited about Mario Hezonja dropping in 30 points tomorrow and shutting down LeBron since he is the LeBron stopper, right? Throwback to the New York Knicks. Honestly, little side note in this outro, Hezonja is the only guy with I don't know. He's not a good defender, but he is kind of like that wing type of defender, if that makes sense. 6'9" and has some foot speed, So I don't know. Maybe that's a guy you throw at LeBron and see how Mario does. You probably don't expect much, but maybe you might be surprised. Mario's had good defensive plays on LeBron before, so I don't know. I don't know how you I don't feel good about that, but what are our other options at this point?
I mean, everyone points to that one play where he blocked him. It was
he had another highlight defensive play, but I don't know. That's the thing with him. It's he has.
What if he just shuts him down and we completely control this series because of Mario Hezonja? You've been bashing him all year, but just the fact that he is on the roster wins us this series, and you have to admit that Mario Hezonja won us the series versus the Lakers.
I'd gladly, if Mario Hezonja won us a series, I would gladly admit it.
Yeah.
Mario Hezonja won us the series. I would be in just the most shock I've ever been on a stream. You know what I mean? I don't know. That would be beautiful.
What if he opted out and we offered him the full mid-level exception?
Well, bro, don't ruin the good. Don't ruin the good vibes you just created. Why'd you create these good vibes just to ruin them?
You don't think he would earn it if LeBron averaged 3 points in the series and Hezonja shut him down?
Anyway, thank you guys for watching.
Funny.
Oh, why are you trying to make me throw up, man? I gotta go get some Wendy's. It's 11:40. They close in 20 minutes. I haven't really eaten today. All I ate was this many Ritz crackers today. I was eating them before we went live, trying to eat as many as I could, so hopefully I wouldn't starve to death on the stream. That would not have been good. But now I need some Wendy's, so I'm about to go get some. I'm gonna work some more. So that wraps up the stream. Thank you guys for watching. Hopefully give you some insight onto at least what we want to see out of the Blazers tomorrow against the Lakers. Hopefully Terry Stotts watched this stream. And hopefully you got some ideas or something. I don't know. Not much for Stotts to do there in the bubble. So, hopefully Terry, hopefully you watch this, and hopefully you don't just run one scheme. Hopefully you switch things up tomorrow. That's all I ask. Not that hard. Anyway, what am I going to plug? Post-game stream tomorrow. We'll probably be streaming over here on the next day. I need to release a schedule for the playoff streaming schedule. Our post-game stream will go live about 8:30 tomorrow. If it's a loss, it probably won't go as long as if it's a win. If it's a loss, I'll probably only do it an hour, maybe an hour and a half. If it's a win, it could go as long as it wants. 2.5 hours. We'll be excited after a win. A lot more energy, so we'll see. Would love to get this game 1 win. So we got playoff basketball in about 18 hours. And until then, I will catch you guys later. So as always, peace out. Go Blazers.